All right.
Back again.
Yeah. How's everybody doing out there?
Good, I guess, if you're talking to me.
I was talking to the audience, and let me just kind of slow down this music, and we will welcome to the Moon Underwater. I'm Kelly Daniels.
And I'm Steve Jones.
And here we are at like 6:45 in the evening.
Late.
It's getting later and later.
I know, we're not even day drinking anymore.
It is a little sad, but we'll get back in the swing of things.
Yeah.
The last couple of episodes that I just edited, and by edit, I listened to long enough to remember what the topic was, and then I hit something called a compressor.
Nice.
That's pretty much it. Every now and then, if there's a slow, like a quiet part, I'll do some little trick I learned on a YouTube channel and make it louder.
Heresy. Okay.
And then I
that wasn't the name of the YouTube channel, right? Make it louder.
That would be a good one. No, it wasn't, but I'm just looking to make sure this is actually recording, and I think it is. So, hey, let's... what I was going to say is it took me like 15 minutes from one of our later episodes to figure out what the topic was.
Oh.
Why don't we just jump in this time?
Yeah, let's jump in.
So, we thought we'd be kind of funny and maybe kind of cute, and it turns out there's another podcast called The Moon Underwater.
Unbelievable.
Mortal enemy or frenemy or just so audacious
They
that how
took
dare
our idea before we had it.
how dare they? Yeah. They've been around a lot longer. They have a listening audience, and so we thought we should at least know thy enemy and do a review of their last couple of because I didn't know what it was about, and I thought, okay, well they have a cool title. And I think that a fair amount of our listening traffic comes from people who think it's that podcast.
Yeah.
Because it comes from England, the UK.
Yeah.
Anyway, so thanks, Moon Underwater UK. And we're going to, I think, have a friendly review.
I think so.
I'm thinking I'm not wanting to slam some fellow Moon Underwaterers. But we haven't spoken at all about it, so I have no idea what you think about it. And so let's just, I don't know. What do you think, man?
Why the fuck are they not in a pub? That's my first question.
So they are not in a pub.
They're not.
As far as they're doing it in a studio and pretending it's a pub. But
they're
okay.
constructing their favorite, like the Moon Underwater, right?
The Moon Underwater is an imaginary pub, and so they are doing where we are actually breaking the rules a little by being in a real pub.
Yeah.
The beautiful Riverview Roadhouse. There's water right outside our window. The moon isn't up right now, but if it were, there would be a Moon Underwater feature. So we're taking a different sort of angle there. That's one question we have. So we're going to hold their feet to the fire.
Yeah.
They do seem to drink.
Yeah.
They talk about drinking a lot, and they talk about pubs a lot.
Do they drink?
Okay.
I heard what sounded like maybe sound effects, like we have some new ones this week, that it sounded like there was maybe a can that was open. Yeah.
You think they're fakers?
I don't know.
Inauthentic.
They weren't getting drunker through theirs like we do during ours.
Yeah,
so
noticeably.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Her quality drops off at like the 30-minute mark.
I think it gets better and better. But I guess that's, a matter of
opinion.
taste.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, so there's that. Are they faking the whole thing? There is one thing, since we're on this track. We're starting pretty negative, and I think I'm just worried that their fans are going to bomb us, or maybe they'll get wind of it, and then they'll just have a cease and desist. But so I want to be nice. These are people that are they're bigger than us, so we have to. Yeah. It's kind of like we're just this country that wants to complain about the United States, but we get all our funding from the United States.
That's
so we're
true.
like, you shouldn't have done that bombing thing, but it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad.
And so I think that's where we're coming from here. There was also a thing about, they talked, I don't know if every episode is just about pubs and drinking. If that's the case, I'm just in absolute awe that they can do that once a week.
I think so.
Forever.
I think that's what it is. And it's like they bring in the different people, right? So there's a guest.
Yeah.
And this week, the guest was
Morgan Reese.
I kept wanting to call him Reese Morgan. Morgan Reese.
He's a Welshman.
Yeah.
And a comedian.
Yeah.
And but here was they went on this whole kind of like I thought it was funny because it was funny in a painful way because he just wanted to get on to the fact that he was drinking non-alcohol beer and they got on this like non-alcohol drinking.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really good because the two host guys were like, yeah, man, that's cool in a British accent. But they were not there.
They were not at all with that.
So I feel like they are, if they're not drinking actively, they like a good drink.
Oh, for sure.
And I think it would be fun to, I think they should invite us to their.
Absolutely.
And we would go up there.
They could come here if they wanted to, either way.
Absolutely. Yeah. We would put them up in the basement. You have a basement. I have a basement. Nice basements. Yeah. We have good basements, not crappy basements. Right. Not like dungeon. These are like, carpeted. But
maybe even with heat during the winter, it's fine.
If that's in the budget. Yeah, so the non-alcohol thing, and okay, so we're starting with all our criticisms. This isn't a criticism.
No, I thought that was kind of funny. I thought that was they're like
how long they were talking about.
Okay,
like non-alcohol drink.
This is like the 6th time it's been done. It was something.
They're like, wow, people keep doing this. What a trip! I guess we're gonna have to deal with this reality.
I think there was an age disparity, right?
Between they were more our age, and their guest was a young guy, and then there was the. Every single thing I noted about it, I'm like saying right now, but I'm sure we could just talk anyway.
Yeah.
But the whole kilt thing, how the kilt becomes a skirt.
It's in my notes.
Okay, that almost I could imagine like a really like cultural conservative thinking. See, that's what happens. You start with a kilt. Pretty soon, men are wearing skirts.
Or I actually was. My question was, when does a kilt become a skirt? Because if you ask any Scotsman, I think they're going to go, "That's no way, that's not a skirt."
Yeah.
But he was happy. Like he was like, "It's fantastic. I love it."
I bet you it is very cool on the nether parts on a summer day.
It's got to be all right.
Little breeze.
Yeah. I mean, how long of a skirt are we talking though?
He talked about a long one, and but he has a bunch of them. It seems like that's his thing.
But it seemed like I was like. Immediately when he said, I've gotten to wearing skirts, I'm like, okay, well, are we, kilt, he's going to count as a skirt.
He's a comedian.
But he was like, no, it's an actual, we started with kilt and we went from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
So there's that.
That was
But that's also an age disparity thing. We're the age where, mostly men don't wear skirts. But the young guy, 29 years old he was like, that's a thing.
Is a kilt a skirt to you?
It sure looks like one. And
even with like the fancy stuff on it. And
I mean, whatever. It's I don't have a problem. I did see a Scotsman in a kilt. Sorry, passed out, dead cold, like 10 in the morning, maybe 9 in the morning in Prague,
the city Scotsman that you didn't really want to see.
I didn't see up the skirt, but he was definitely in the gutter. And then I was sitting there having my morning coffee, and I was pretty hungover too. So I'm not trying to say I'm better than other people. He was
having his morning gin.
He was just in the gutter. So Prague is a bachelor party destination, and so he was in a group, and he just woke up, and I was just watching him. Just for a while, I was like, I hope that guy's not dead. That would be really grim. And then he woke up, and it's interesting to watch somebody wake up in the gutter in a city that he doesn't live in, and he's dressed for, just there is definitely a surprise.
How long do you suppose he was there? Like, how long did you see him there?
Probably about 20 minutes.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. No, I showed up, and he was just there, and I was on the outdoor patio, like getting that breakfast croissant and coffee. Just watching him, like, I hope he wakes up. And I think maybe I saw him breathing or something. There was some reason for me to not really think he was dead eventually. And then he just kind of got up. Move. Yeah, he started moving, and he opened his eyes and sat up and looked around and looked very confused. And then he looked around and just kind of got his bearings, made eye contact with me. Not just me, but just made eye contact with the world, and then just gave the most embarrassed smile. Like,
that's awesome.
It all came back.
That's fantastic.
Oh, that's what happened. I passed out on the street. Last thing I remember, we were blah, 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 and then here I am.
Wow.
And then he just kind of stood up, looked around, just started walking off some direction that hopefully was the right one.
I'm in my head. I'm picturing him getting up with like brick marks on his face from like there's some like big line on his face.
Maybe
getting up. Yeah.
I kind of feel like he looked almost like perfectly. Okay, disheveled means, but the opposite would be shoveled, I guess.
Yeah,
like,
I guess.
Because I think he passed out so perfectly.
Yeah.
That he didn't roll around in the muck. He just boom, out. And he was wearing last night's nice clothes. When you're out.
Nice.
Yeah, the kilt was like he was dressed for the night. And he was out boozing and stuff, and he probably spilled some booze on himself and all that. But it wasn't like he was living in the streets for a week. It was just boom, out, didn't move, got up, and maybe had a little bit of grunge here and there, but he looked fine, actually. Hair was
presentable.
His hair wasn't even messy because he probably sprayed it or something. And anyway, yeah. Okay, so what were we talking about?
Talking about the kilt.
The kilt.
Yeah.
And, here's my one other thing I wanted to say. This is an observation, not about this particular podcast, about all of them. On podcasts, comedians are often on them.
Yeah.
I have almost never heard a comedian on a podcast be actually funny.
That guy
at
was
all.
not. He wasn't.
There wasn't a single moment of funniness. I'm sorry to say. I mean, even less than most of my average friends. Just kind of having a. Here's my theory. Now, I think he probably is funny on stage
for sure.
I think that they do it for a living, and then when they're talking in a podcast, they're just over it. They're just, no, I'm just going to do my talking, and I don't have my set, I don't have my jokes memorized, I'm just going to talk.
And he was having a good time.
Yeah.
He was charming.
He was charming. Yeah. They all were. All three of them. I would have loved to hang out with those guys, but he wasn't funny. And I've almost never heard a comedian be funny on a podcast. It's just interesting.
He wasn't funny in here's a joke I'm going to tell, but there was anecdotes that I thought were kind of funny. They talked about, him talking about going to the gay bar and all the different things that he would drink.
Yep. It was amusing.
It was amusing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't oh my God, hold on, I'm going to pause this. He's so funny. Yeah.
There was one podcast by these two comedians that pretty much lured me into podcasting.
Okay.
And to listening to podcasts. It's called The Worst Idea of All Time.
Oh, God, already I love it.
It's kind of legendary in that it was just these two guys from New Zealand podcasting from New Zealand. They're local comedians in New Zealand somewhere. I feel like there's only 500 people in that nation.
There really is.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
And
you ever been there?
No.
I did it a long time ago.
Is it good?
Amazing.
Oh, I wanted to move there. Here, I'll tell you my plan.
Okay.
Later, but right now, so the worst idea of all time. These two comedians decided to do this thing where they would watch a movie once a week for an entire year, over and over and over.
Oh.
And the movie was Grown Ups 2.
Oh.
Not just Grown Ups.
Which is already bad.
Grown Ups 2.
Yeah.
Just a bad movie. And then they would have to discuss the latest watching of it after every week. And they were just kind of slowly going crazy. And then they would focus on a single extra who's just in some crowd scene who's really selling it. And for multiple episodes, they would just talk about that guy.
That's fantastic.
Oh, man. I think they called him Captain Red Pants or something. They're oh, Captain Red Pants, selling it again, mate. Or whatever, that accent. Those guys were funny as shit.
Yeah.
All the time. No, not all the time. Most of the time, often. But they're really good buds. They're both comedians. they're doing this thing together, and they were just, I loved them. And they also, that was the ultimate podcast where they were your imaginary friends.
Yeah.
You so wanted to be like, and so that brings up my plan. So first I just need to get famous and wealthy.
All right.
So let's say
short, a couple of years. We're
next
good.
book,
Yeah.
big time bestseller, make
Yeah.
a movie about it. It's huge. And then I can just say, you know what? I'm tired of this American thing. Politics are all funky, too much gun violence. I'm going to move to, New Zealand.
Why not?
It's a nice place. The
Yeah, it
people
is.
are nice to each other.
Yeah.
But I'm going to move to the town where those guys live. Then I'm going to go to like the club where they do their comedy, and then using my fame and just like, oh, you guys are funny, and just kind of slowly become friends with them at the bar.
Ingratiate yourself there.
Just
yeah.
slowly.
Yeah.
Give no hint that I knew who they are. And then you guys do that. Oh, that's a good. Let me listen. Oh, I listened to a few episodes. That's funny.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
guys are funny. And then over the years, we become better and better friends, and just like almost like family. And whoever dies first, I'll be there. Either I'm dying, or one of them. And then I admit that the whole thing
It was all a giant ruse.
just it was all kind of inauthentic, and I have done that. But then I'll ask for forgiveness.
Are you a fan of Camus?
Camus?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. The Stranger. I think that's
The
all.
Count of Monte Cristo is coming to mind here. That
Oh.
This is all a ruse.
Yeah.
Like it's the longest setup in history, right?
Wait, Camus?
Yeah.
Camus didn't write that, did he?
Yeah.
The Count of Monte Cristo? Wasn't
Sure.
that Alexander Dumas?
Oh, him too. Damn
Okay.
it.
Okay.
I was thinking of
Camus is the philosophy guy, and he wrote The Plague and The
Plague.
Stranger.
Damn it, that's what I was thinking.
Stranger.
Ow. Well, I screwed that up.
No, that was a good. I'm glad I caught it, because that
Yeah.
would have been the
Oh.
kind of thing that would just.
Hey, we could have gone viral with that. We go
Discredit-
with it. Let's cut this part out.
Yeah, that's right. Am I a fan of Alexander Dumas?
Yeah.
Sure.
Wow. That's for you, really.
I mean, the Three Musketeers, the Fourth Musketeer.
Yeah, it's not really my.
Yeah,
I really liked The Count of Monte Cristo.
never read it.
It was one of those in high school we had to pick something. I was like, oh, fine, fuck it. This one seems good enough. And I read it, and I was like mind blown that this, like of the setup of the whole thing. I think I was a senior in high school in college preparatory composition.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it was all right. That you can talk about that in The Moon Underwater. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we could do. It's a literary. This is a high-minded podcast.
In an actual pub.
yeah,
I might add.
in a real.
Yeah.
This isn't a pub though; it's a bar.
Well,
right? This is an American pub.
it's true. And
Those guys were more pub guys.
They were definitely pub guys.
I like how they talked about pubs.
Yeah.
And my favorite thing they said is how they prefer to, like, going out drinking at night. They're like, I like, my favorite is like start at 2:00,
Day drink.
end at 6. Fuck yeah.
Because by 9 o'clock you're sober again,
Yeah.
and you won't be hungover.
Yeah, you wake up in the morning and you
He had
can
a
do
point.
it. Yeah.
He did. I gotta
Those guys
say
are right.
That the way that they talked about their pubs and like where they like to go and drink, and
And they have good pubs there.
they have great pubs. Like, everyone is different, right? So we're kind of,
Yeah.
we're not used to that. Old here is, God, that's 80 years old. My God, that's ancient.
Yeah.
And there it's like, well, it's 400 years old.
Yeah.
Still open. One of my all-time favorite pubs in London is Churchill Arms, and it's it's kind of west of the main drag, but it's very famous, very covered in flowers, like on the outside during the spring and summer. And I always think of that as one of those like quintessentially English pubs, but they're all over the place. They talked about them in on this particular podcast because the guy was Welsh. That there's a lot of really good Welsh pubs.
Yeah.
And I have been to Wales, and I can agree there are some just fantastic Welsh pubs.
Never been there.
Oh man, Wales is cool.
Yeah.
Americans are a bit of a novelty there. It's kind of
They like
funny.
us, kind of.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, and we
Even
have-
now.
even now,
Okay.
yeah, and
I feel like in the 90s or maybe the 80s, we were actually popular. Or actually, probably right after World War II. That probably would have been a pretty good
Probably
time
was
to
an all right time to be there.
go hang out in Europe, certain parts at least.
I was in England last year for work, and we were north of London. I say just north of London. It was like a 2-hour drive on the wrong side of the road or right side of the road, depending on your perception. And we got in, and we stayed 2 weeks, and in the second week we had to move hotels. And we went where they had like a road crew that was staying that was putting in fiber optic cable everywhere. Okay, and kind of blue collar guys, and I'm staying with this guy that I work with, and we're in line to get a beer at the hotel bar, and this guy in front of us turns
In
around.
line?
Yeah, and on the queue.
You had to queue up
we
to get a
queued
beer
up.
at the bar?
Yeah, because it wasn't like an old pub. It was like
It was
a
like a
Marriott.
snack bar-y kind of thing. Okay, gotcha.
And so as we're in line, this guy turns around, and he goes, "Oh my God, you're American." And I was like, what do you say to that? I was like, do I pretend to be Canadian at this point? I go, that depends on how you're going to react. He's like, that is so cool.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, yes, it is.
It isn't.
Yes.
It is cool, but it's not that much of an accomplishment.
No.
It
took nothing. Yeah. I'm like, as I like to say about, when I go to Spain, I'm like, this is my default setting. This is what comes out automatically. But they were super nice. They were from England, but much further away.
Yeah.
We don't run into Americans by us. I was like, oh, all right, well, I'll have to make a note of where you're from, which I clearly did not do because I have no idea where it is.
I went in the 90s when I did that same Europe backpacking trip that I've talked about so many times on this so far.
There's a lot of material there.
I guess so. I ended up in Sheffield.
Oh, God.
Just, whatever.
I've talked to my wife about Sheffield.
Oh, really?
She studied there, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Miriam studied at not Sheffield, but something like that. Just this northern town that was, it wasn't Leeds.
Leeds.
She went to Leeds.
Yeah, that's close.
Yeah,
Kinda near Yorkshire. Yeah.
But I was in Sheffield, and we went to a pub, and it was like my first time. I think maybe when I was in London for that day, I don't know if I went to a pub. Maybe I did, but this is like the first time I was kind of like in an English style pub.
Yeah.
English pub, not style pub. And I ordered the pole cask thing.
Oh, yeah.
This is way back when. This is the 90s where people didn't. You'd never find that in America.
No.
Where you have to kind of like work.
You
and
crank
it was
it, like
and
you're pumping
crank
it by
it,
hand.
crank it by hand, and it was kind of flat
A little warm.
and kind of warm.
Yeah.
And I was drinking it, and all the locals that we went out with were like, only tourists drink that stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, but this is the 90s. It was a college town. They were all drinking
definitely
Budweiser.
college
They were all
town.
drinking Budweiser. Every single person ordered Budweiser bottle. That was what they drank in those days. And drinking this kind of old man, like thick, sort of warm. And that was before the craft beer revolution and all that. And so I'm sure it's
I got a
different now.
Budweiser story for you.
All right.
I was 1999 in New Zealand and Australia. I said it's been a while. Been a good long while. And went out with a friend that I was visiting there in Sydney. So we started in Wellington and went to Sydney. Wellington, New Zealand, for those of you playing at home. And in Sydney, we went out one night and just kind of got in a mood where we were just going to tie one on.
Yeah. It just starts happening.
Yeah. And like, it turns into a party. We're in this great big bar. At least that's the way I remember it. And these guys hear us talking. They're like, "You're Americans." Yeah. Oh, are you guys here for New Year's? Oh, we got to leave early, Oh, come here. We'll buy you a beer then.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Like, do you guys drink Budweiser? I was like, Bud Light? They're like, Bud what? Bud Light? They're like, light. What do you mean light? Like Budweiser light? What's light about it? Got less calories. Why do you care, mate? I happily drank several Budweisers from them that night, and so cheers to them.
Yeah. Why
that was man.
They weren't worried about the calories, were they?
They did not care.
No.
They were just they were so
good on
Australian.
them.
They were great.
Good on them,
that
mate.
Was fun.
What was your friend's name?
That I was visiting?
Yeah.
Keeley. Oh, you got the riff there.
All right, that was the riff. How did it sound?
Riffy. Let's try
Let's
it
hear
again.
it again. Yeah.
Should I say, I was visiting Keeley. There we go.
All right.
That was good.
I think we got it.
Yeah. Yeah, we had fun.
Right on.
It was, it was, that was one of two crazy nights on that trip. There was another one in New Zealand where we ran into a cricket team that was the West Indies cricket team. And I was like, okay. They were at the same bar as us.
West Indies.
Yeah, the Windies, as it were.
Okay.
And I was like, oh,
Were
okay.
I bet you they could party too.
I guess. I didn't know that I didn't know it was a big deal. They kept telling me.
That it was a big deal.
Yeah, they were like, this is in the late 90s, right?
Yeah.
So when the Bulls were the Bulls, they were like, it's like seeing the Bulls at a bar in Chicago.
Wait, who was telling you that? The guys that you were drinking?
Yeah, people that I was with, the people that I visited.
But you didn't talk to any of the players.
I very well could have. It was a
I see.
Everybody night.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I got it.
Yeah.
Sounds
One of
fun.
I don't know. But I remember tipping the bartender the equivalent of like 50 cents every time I would order. The bar would be packed and nobody ever tipped.
Yeah.
And, man, did I get service quick.
Oh, I bet.
That was great.
Look at the Yank.
Yeah.
They
I'd
give
be like,
you
hey,
extra money.
They were like, what is this for? And I was like, it's a tip. They're like, a what?
Yeah.
Gratuity. They're like,
You're ruining it
Really?
for them, man.
yeah. And I go, hey, you keep that. Keep
Yeah,
that coming.
maybe that should be a subject of a different
Tipping.
tipping.
Tipflation?
Well, I was 7 full years of full time, or maybe not full time, but through my college years, I was working service industry, bartending, waiting tables.
Sure.
And so I was definitely living on tips, and I was making a lot of money at times. I really think it's a corrupt and wrong way to distribute wealth.
Wow.
I just don't think it's the right. I think that.
Let's just raise the prices 20 to 25% on everything and call it good.
Yeah, I think that's
All right.
right, and then pay them a decent wage. Pay them $20 an hour, man. I mean, it's a hard job.
It's a
waiting
hard
tables, bartending. It takes skill. You should know the
Yeah.
food. You should know how to do it. It's very like waiting tables at a busy place. Short-term memory intensive. Not every. In
Did
fact,
you use a pad of paper?
I did. Yeah,
Okay.
I did. But there's just so much going on. You have to focus, and things can go so wrong, and sometimes it's just tough. It's a tough job, and it takes skill, and that's why people, in fancy restaurants, they make over $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
And maybe, I guess I can understand certain kinds of places, where it is highly competitive, where you should be compensated big time for that kind of thing. But I also think that it was fucked up because I was easily making, 30, 40, $50 an hour. And the guys in the kitchen who were way more knowledgeable than me and skillful were making $10 an hour and working in a harder environment. And it's just like
They're sweating, they're moving,
and it wasn't fair. It was just like, okay, it takes skill to do what I'm doing, but it takes skill for what they're doing. And just that front of the house was making so much. Of course, when it was slow, we'd make nothing, and maybe that was part of the. Anyway,
Probably, right?
I derailed us.
That's one thing that the other moon underwater doesn't. They don't get that derailed. They're like laser focused.
You think so?
I think so.
Yeah.
I like our derailment. I liked their laser focus.
They have. It's an interview. What it is, it's an interview podcast with a very kind of adorable gimmick, which is.
It is.
This is a.
Damn it.
This is a.
I know it is adorable.
It is a. This is the. But yeah, they don't talk about Orwell, and all it is the idea that this is a. And they talk about pubs the whole time.
Yeah.
Which I liked it. I liked it enough.
I want to talk about a pub in England now.
Okay.
I really want to remember where this was. It was near a Royal Air Force base, which does not say anything because they're all over the place. And it was on my trip there last year. We went over. Oh gosh, name of the pub is King of the Belgians.
Really?
Yeah, King of the Belgians. And they had great food, and we went over and grabbed a beer, and they did the cask thing, where...
What was it called again?
King of the Belgians. There it is.
Okay.
Yes, I needed that. And the now you can't tell just by listening to me, but I am on a really good day, all stretched out with the right shoes on, 5'8".
All right.
And there was a ceiling in the pub area that I was afraid I was going to hit my head on.
Nice.
And the guy that I was with is at 6 foot something.
Yeah.
And he definitely had a duck.
Yeah.
And what
That's
they
character.
Oh, it was awesome. And
Weird
then they had like stickers all over the ceiling.
Yeah.
And one of them, I have a picture of it somewhere, was a Union Jack with a Harrier, like, sort of superimposed over the front of it, and it said "The Empire Strikes Back." I was like, wow. I mean, that's like taking yourself not so seriously that you can put that on a sticker and have a laugh. And it was awesome. It was a pub that apparently some of the pilots locally would come over and hang out.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it was all right, and the food was phenomenal. So, highly recommend King of the Belgians.
I love it. I love the name, too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love pubs.
Yes.
And I do feel like the pubs in Ireland, the pubs in England, I'm sure all
Never
of the
been
British...
to Ireland. I gotta do that.
You got to, man.
Yeah.
It's the pub is the way of life there. It's a gorgeous place. What else about the moon underwater across the pond? They had the pub quiz. I thought that was pretty clever.
I did too. Something came up on the pub quiz that I didn't know, and I Googled it. Beyonce came up.
Yeah.
I didn't really know.
She was 21 when she hit her
Exactly.
first. Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't know. Like, Beyonce, I don't remember like how she came up or like what it was. Oh, it was Destiny's Child. I had to look it up.
Yeah.
Which I did not remember at all.
No, I didn't know that.
Okay. So I was like, okay, like I just remember Beyonce just being in the conversation.
Yeah.
That's the last memory I have. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to go look this up. Oh, it's Destiny's Child. Okay. I started thinking, I know the name. Do I know any songs? And I couldn't think of one.
No. I only know Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls, which is not...
That's definitely not them. That's TLC.
TLC, yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that the same band?
No. No, it's close.
Yeah. Okay.
I think with less talent.
Don't go chasing waterfall.
Can we do an episode where you just sing?
I mean, I feel like I'd be... the answer is no. But I was trying to come up with a better way to say it. But don't go chasing waterfall. The whole theme of that song is don't try to get too much.
Right.
Like you just stay home. It's like the Lifetime movie.
Right.
Like don't go to the city and try to make a bunch of money.
Then he gets HIV.
Yeah.
That's
That's what happens.
Yeah.
And
That's how you end up.
Gump.
Yep.
Like Gump's.
Yep.
He does not. He's just an idiot, and everything great happens. And
Right.
his girlfriend, she goes off and tries to do things. She gets AIDS, and but the TLC, they're all like rich, and they're telling everybody else to go no, don't. And then one of them died in Honduras.
What?
Yeah, one of them died in a car accident.
As one does in Honduras.
Well,
I can't.
Because I spent some time
What
in
are the
Honduras.
circumstances of
driving.
Right? No, but I mean, why?
It's a dangerous place to drive.
What? Why were they in Honduras? I mean,
I don't know. It's a nice weather.
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually don't know.
I didn't have them on my radar as like Honduras travelers.
I might be wrong about it. It might even be Costa Rica or something, but I think it was Honduras. Just
wow.
Anyway, we don't have phones.
No,
And,
this pub underwater has no phones.
No,
except for my notes today.
Your notes, but you disabled the.
Yeah.
So we'll never know.
We'll never know.
Yep.
Yep.
Because we'll forget about it by the time we're done.
So, okay, you were singing and it brought something to mind. Have you ever?
Go ahead.
Have you ever karaoke?
Yeah.
What songs did you sing?
Oh.
Speaking of sidetracking.
All right. I'm not a big karaokeer.
Okay.
And I don't and I feel like it's unfair that people have home karaoke kits and then they practice the motherfucker
cheating.
and then they show up and they're almost as good as like a good cover band, and you're like, come on, man.
I saw something
You're
like
supposed
that.
to be drunk
Yeah.
and off key
Oh, yeah.
and not able to read the lyrics. You're coming up here with a pretty professional sounding thing, and it's not right.
Belting it out.
So I was actually in a band, and I sang backing vocals and even sang lead vocals on one song.
Really?
For the Boogeymen. We had other names. There was another band called Boogeymen, kind of like the Moon Underwater.
Yeah.
But they were in San Diego, and we were in Orange County, about an hour away. And so, anyway, so I can't. I'm not a good singer, but I kind of learned a little bit how to keep in tune or whatever. But what are some songs I did? I really did a terrible version, a bad job at Father Christmas, Give Us Some Money by the Kinks.
Oh, wow.
Because it was a Christmas karaoke. That song was like weirdly hard.
It's hard. Yeah, I was going to say that.
It was hard to sing, and it was like the timing of when he comes in and doesn't.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I was like off time, and I was a drummer. But so that was a bad karaoke experience. One of my favorite bands, The Cramps, and I sang a song called "Life Is Short, Filled with Stuff." Trying to remember the name of the song. Anyway, for whatever reason, I can't remember the name of the song. It's a Cramps song. Not that many people know it.
I wouldn't know it.
It's kind of a post-punk,
I know the name.
rockabilly
Yeah.
band. And
I think I know a few songs.
there's a band called Grinder Man that is Nick Cave thing.
Okay.
And there was a song where she didn't want to as a chorus. Again, I can't remember
I know this song.
Do you?
Yeah.
It's like really like industrially, like really noisy.
Yeah. And so is that what makes a great karaoke, by the way, is not everybody knows the song, but then when you're that into it, you're like laying it all out there.
I don't
it's
know.
kind of fun, no?
I got pretty drunk and like nailed Stairway to Heaven. And that's the longest.
That's so hard.
It isn't that hard to sing. If you can do that falsetto voice, if that is in your range and it's easy, you could just belt it out. At least that's how it was for me. And people were like booing because it's such a long song. By the end, they were cheering.
Okay.
That was like my biggest victory. And then I did a kind of a B-side song by the Beatles called Bad Boy, which is a real rock and roll song.
Okay.
John Lennon singing, and it's a kind of gravel voice rock song.
All right.
From one of their earlier albums. So that's it. That's
All right.
all of it. What about you?
So I've only sang at one karaoke bar, at one thing, at one night of drunkenness in Bucharest.
Ooh, it's a good place.
It is a great place for that. Bucharest is fucking awesome. And went out with coworkers.
Bucharest. That's Romania, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was there for work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Transylvania is in that
It is.
country, right?
It is, yeah.
Wow.
Landed, had like my first day there, went out like with coworkers, and I think a night or two later, because somebody that I work with was like, okay, if we go, you need to go do karaoke. And I was like, have you ever gone? No. I was like, are you going to sing? Sure. I was like, okay, then I'll do it, and I'll sing. And a whole bunch of people from work went out, and I was like, I'm not fucking doing this. And they kept getting, Romanian beer, and which was very good. Incidentally,
Nice.
Beer tastes good. I know that's hard to believe. And the first song I sang was American Pie. Speaking of long songs.
Chasing waterfalls.
Oh, God. Yes, I wish I could. I don't. My voice doesn't. And I sang American Pie thinking people. I kept thinking people were going to know the song.
So you did American Pie?
Nobody knew it.
That's awful.
And then I was like, okay, all
Took my
right, we're going
Chevy
to do another
the
one.
levee and-
Yeah. Oh, I went to
Hate
the
that
Chevy.
song so
The
much.
levee was. Do you really?
Okay, I hate that. This friend of mine, Tim Diavis, he had this thing where he would like bring it up all the time. His little party trick. few years ago, but he would say that American Pie and Hotel California were basically totally the same genre of super popular, annoying, and he would ask everybody which one's better. And I was just like, no question, Hotel California is a work of art, and American Pie is hippie schlock. And I'm okay. You seem like,
I mean,
it seems that you seem like you're in pain that I said that. You're like,
hippie schlock is really cruel. There's just something I enjoy about that song.
Yeah. Okay.
Where I think Hotel California is like
It's
probably
trippy, man. Stab it with their steely knives. Just can't kill the beast. American Pie has something like that? No. It's all like sappy.
No, it's just that it's the Eagles. Maybe I'm like the dude. I've had a rough
that's a
night.
scam.
I just fucking hate the Eagles,
I
man.
think it's a scam. It's just like the other episode we did where PBR became popular because of Blue Velvet, because Dennis Hopper saying that PBR was cool. I think the dude in that, now it's cool to hate the Eagles because the dude said it on a movie.
I don't hate the Eagles. I just don't like that song.
All right.
I never really did.
All right.
Second song that I sang same night.
Mirrors on the Ceiling.
No.
Pink Champagne on Ice.
Yeah.
You're just not okay. There was a Yelp. Somebody wrote like a Yelp review of the Hotel California based on the song. And they're like, mirrored ceilings and pink champagne eyes is good, but the voices down the corridor, that was a little tough to sleep. and it goes on, and then you could check out any time you like, but you can never leave. It's like there's a real customer service problem at the front desk.
At some point, we're going to have to read and review, hopefully it's still up, the 3 Wolf Moon shirt on Amazon that at one point had like 55,000 reviews. It was all 5 stars. It was like, this shirt is magical. It gave me magical powers. I was able, like, there's some absolutely amazing writing in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a whole genre, is the review, the art.
Yeah.
Like take on, yeah.
So
I haven't heard the 3 Wolf shirt, but I can.
Oh man, 3 Wolf Moon. They're like howling at the moon.
Yeah,
like,
3 wolves, 1 moon,
yeah.
or 3 moons,
I think so.
3 wolves.
I think it's either 3 and 3 or 1 and 3.
Yeah,
and I don't have my phone.
That's all right.
Completely disconnected.
Doesn't matter.
We're gonna forget.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It's wolves, moon, shirt, reviews.
They're on a fucking shirt on Amazon. Okay,
yeah.
Like that's. Okay, second song that I sang that night.
Yeah.
Sympathy for the Devil. Thinking more people would know it because
that's a great song.
It's the Stones, man. Fuck. Rock and roll's greatest band. Don't argue with me about that because it's true.
No, I'm down with you. I mean,
somebody tried to tell me it was Zeppelin.
Whatever.
I'm like, well, I'm going to go see the Rolling Stones when they're fucking 80 in Atlanta in a couple months.
Yeah.
So I can't see Led Zeppelin. They haven't been touring since before I was born. So thank you.
That's what greatness is based on.
Yes.
Their availability.
Longevity.
Yeah.
And still keeping the name, even though largely it's not the same guys.
I think, I hear that they're out there on the stage, but they have like a full backing band that does the actual music now.
Oh, yeah.
Like like Keith Richards is, I guess his hands are so arthritic that there's no way he can make chords out of them. But he's up there, and
he's up there. Oh, they're so good. Third and final song that I sang that night, as I was disappointed in everything else that I chose.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
I wish.
Never mind.
Please let me. No, you're singing.
You're gonna do it. You can do it, man.
Yeah, no. I can't really.
All right.
Third and final song was Basket Case by Green Day.
All right.
And
that one rocked.
A third of the bar was on stage with me. Before I'm like expecting people to get up and sing and like they're gonna rock out, and fucking nothing. And I'm like, I'm super drunk. I go up and I pay the girl running the karaoke thing the equivalent of $10 to put me at the front of the list because I was like 20 songs back. I'm like, I'm not gonna make it.
Yeah,
like I'm not gonna make it.
You had to
far.
redeem yourself because you had 2 losers and you needed to kind of.
People were like, they were good about it because it's impressive that I'm singing in English, sort of, because everybody speaks English in Bucharest. But they're like, great, yeah, congratulations, guy that clearly speaks English. You're singing in English. And I picked that
quite
song.
an accomplishment.
It really,
just like being congratulated for being an American in England. Like, yep.
Yes, congratulations.
Sure.
I was like, default state.
I worked hard at it,
really.
and but here I am. You know.
And meanwhile, there was, like you were saying, somebody had practiced. There was somebody who sang, and I don't know the name of the song, and it was in French, and she was like belting it out, and it was amazing. And I was like, I don't want to go up after her.
No,
like that's terrible. But so for the Green Day song, about a third of the bar was on stage with me. I like singing. We're passing the microphone. I was like, yeah. People are cheering as I'm leaving. I'm like, this is the greatest moment of my life. And I leave, and I remember thinking to myself before I left, if I ever get COVID again, it's going to be from this.
Yeah.
Definitely got it again.
Yeah.
Like 3 days later. Yeah. It was great. Yeah. Totally worth it, by the way. I coughed for like 2 days.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah.
So wait, that actually ties into our theme. I think in the second episode of the other moon underwater, like somebody was talking about. They had that thing about the drink that you remember.
Yeah.
But he was talking about drinking with his dad.
Or his parents, right?
His parents, his dad and stepmom, and it was right before COVID, and his dad was coughing the whole time, and they bar hopped everywhere, and he goes. Later, we realized he completely had COVID and probably infected the whole city, but they're like, yeah, he didn't know.
Yeah. he used the word riddled. He was riddled with it. I was dying. I'm like, yes, riddled with COVID. Yeah, that was a good moment because it's like it made it real. What I didn't realize was it was 2 years for them that they had lockdown for 2 years.
Yeah.
Shit.
Well, we're in the Midwest. We
30 whole days.
Yeah, a couple of months at the most, and we were the place where everybody came. Yeah, the hotels around here were full of people from Chicago,
just to go out,
to get out. Yeah, because they weren't able to do anything, and they would just. Anyway,
what did you do? Did you guys go out or did you not go?
No, Miriam was totally stay out. I was sneaking to the bar. She caught me at the bar one time and was so pissed. It's like a major challenge to our marriage. But I was just like, but my deal with myself was, okay, I will not go out. I will totally just be locked in my house.
Yeah.
And we walked around the neighborhood.
Yeah, yeah.
But once I get that fucking vaccine,
I'm out.
Once I get the second one, I'm doing whatever the fuck I want. Because
good friend of mine told me
that's how I did it.
Once I get my second shot, I've done my time.
Yeah,
I'm going back to normal.
That was 100%. It's like you got to put your trust in something. Yeah. I didn't put my trust in masks. I don't like wearing them. I put them in those goddamn shots.
I didn't go out. Like, we didn't do anything for like 8 months.
I drove through a snowstorm to Galesburg to get my shot.
Galesburg.
Because all the shots around here had huge waiting lists, except Galesburg. Those fuckers didn't give a shit.
They didn't want it.
No,
we're good.
And so I had to drive for an hour through a snowstorm.
Macomb here, I think maybe it was a snowstorm. I had to take these back roads.
Yeah, it was like February, March, something. Whenever it was like
early
cold.
2021. Maybe?
Yeah. And I got there, and then I got my shot, and I got a flat tire. Somehow, I think
for your trouble.
And I had to get my tire fixed at this little, and there was just like a little, this garage that was out there, and I pulled up, and he's like, "Hey, how you doing there? Where you come from?" Sorry about the accent.
I like that he's got an accent already.
He's
from Western Illinois.
Pretty much. And he's just like, "Yeah."
He probably.
What are y'all doing down here from Quad City? I made the mistake of saying the last thing I was going to tell this guy was that I came down to get a vaccine.
There's a great bar
and I'm
over
like,
here. We had to go drink at because they're open.
There was
no open bars.
I should have said that, but I just said, I'm just on my way to somewhere.
Yeah,
passing
through.
He's like, oh, St. Louis? I'm like, pretty much.
Yeah, there. Yep. Somewhere within a 4-hour radius of St. Louis. About where we are.
Oh, yeah. I would have disappointed him so much if I'd have said I drove all this way to get a vaccine
that
which
you
is
don't want. Yeah,
which,
that the
of
guy
course,
didn't
is
want.
going to, immediately kill me or infect me with like a tracking device for...
Zombie is what I was going to go with.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
All right, you're going with tracking device. Okay. Yeah.
Wait, but I leapt us from... back
took
to our main topic, but you were talking about the karaoke. Was that?
Yeah.
Was that it? Was you?
Yeah.
Were
Well,
you talking about?
so I want to bring it back. They talked about music in theirs, in the pub underwater. Like what,
the moon underwater.
Yeah. Because that's theirs,
Yeah.
right?
That's
And
called
so-
the moon underwater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did I say?
You said the pub underwater.
Did I really?
Yeah. Want to know what I already know what the title of this one's going to be.
The pub underwater?
No.
Oh.
The dark side of the moon underwater.
I was going to go with the other guy's moon underwater.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not bad. But I think the dark
seen
side
that
of the
movie?
moon.
Dark
no.
Side of the Moon?
I
like it.
Pink Floyd.
I've heard of them.
British
yeah.
band.
Yes, yeah.
The dark side of the moon, and they're also the dark side in a way. They're evil, and we're good, generally.
I like that. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
scrappy underdogs.
Oh, aren't we?
We're the Rebel Alliance, and they are the Death Star.
Wow. Them's our
We're
fighting words right there.
a combination of Luke and Obi-Wan, and
Which one do I get to be?
we're both.
Oh, we're both.
Yeah.
All right.
And nobody wants to be the fucking ghost.
No.
You wanna,
No, God, no. No.
Yeah, and I know I'm a
Yeah.
little older than you, but I'm not ready to be the Obi-Wan to your Luke.
That's why I asked. I had to
And-
make sure.
And we're flying down the crevice.
Right.
Of
in an
their-
X-Wing, not in the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, and then I would be Han and you could be Luke if that's how you want to play it.
I would
But,
go with Chewbacca in that case.
Yeah,
I think. I'll be the
Chewbacca's cool.
co-pilot. Yeah.
Chewbacca's cool.
I just got new Chewbacca Crocs, which are
Nice.
seriously the dorkiest thing I've ever owned.
Are they furry?
Yeah, they are, and I love
What?
them. Yeah, I wear them. I wear them at the house. It won't be long before I wear them here, and I proudly display them. But
Nice.
they are amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, my wife is not impressed.
Chewbacca Crocs.
I mean, Chewcracas is what I'm calling them.
yeah,
definitely earned that.
Your Chewies.
Yeah.
Hey.
Chewcracas.
Yeah, Chewcracas.
Yeah.
Is that what they're called?
That's what I'm calling them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Right.
could be like an abusive husband, just come home drunk. Give me my Chewies.
Just refer to them as my Chewies.
Damn it. Where are my Chewies?
It's funny. It's like you have a window into my life.
Yeah. I know how
It
you
actually
are.
happened a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right after I got
Yelling
home.
at your wife.
God damn it.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
Oh no.
that's how it goes. Oh, you have notes.
I do. I have more
What?
notes.
Yeah, read them.
What? Oh God.
Read
I
it, like,
can't read
no.
them. Right. It was okay. There was two parts, and there's like I'm taking notes for us to be like,
Yeah.
hey, we've done a two-parter. So I was
Yeah,
like,
we have.
who does a two-part episode? Oh, we've already done one.
We have.
Like, yeah. So I was like,
We called it two separate things.
Did we really?
Yeah, the first one was Hurt So Good. The second one was called Traveler Tales.
I do love Traveler Tales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they did two parts. That was I felt I don't know, man. I don't know. It was okay.
We it
was good.
I think we started this wanting to, sort of. We were going to have a bit of a go, I think.
Yeah.
And I found their podcast to be totally endearing and
Oh yeah, it was
really
sweet.
good.
It was
Yeah.
good.
And like well produced and
Oh yeah.
yeah. And
It
I'm
was
like
good.
God damn them. They stole our name before we had it.
Nah, I don't feel like it's. I feel like it's the same old thing. They're
cool, though.
they're King George. We're George Washington. They're trying
True.
to have dominance, and right now they do.
Can we cross the Mississippi rather than the Delaware though? That's a
Yes.
lot closer.
It's right there.
Right there.
It is
Yeah,
right
yeah.
there, and so I feel like that is. It's early in the. We haven't even had the Tea Party yet.
We have not.
Right now we're in the. We still like them.
We do.
And
do.
but eventually,
There's a volley going on here, though. The ball is in their court.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
American sports ball terms.
they're gonna impose some tax,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna say, I'm sorry.
Yeah. We're going to dump whatever it is that they've taxed
into
the Mississippi.
Mississippi,
Yeah.
probably toxic, probably
Well, I don't
kill
know that
some.
it matters.
It is already pretty toxic. It's an industrial river in a lot of ways.
Do you swim in the Mississippi in the summer?
No,
Not that we're...
I have.
Have you?
Oh yeah, but I don't. No, it's not my thing.
I've never done it.
There is a beach right upriver from us called Princeton Beach, and it is a big sandy beach because the ships that come and dredge out the channel, because they need to keep the river a certain depth for commercial navigation.
Yeah.
And they dump them in certain places, all of the sand they dredge up, and they make these big, full-on,
Really?
like, beachy beaches. And the one, Princeton Beach, the only way you can get there, because it's an island, is either it's an island or it's just not accessible by car or anything. The only way you can get there is by boat. And if you bring a boat up there and just pull up, and then on certain nice days in the summer, it's just packed, and it's pretty cool, man. I mean, it's not the ocean, but it's pretty cool
all
beach
right.
scene.
I have gone to there was like a lake beach nearby that I've been to. We used to go to the Res in Coralville when I was in college. That was like, you know,
All right.
if you were
The reservoir?
around, yeah,
Yeah.
right near Coralville or in Coralville. I don't know.
Feels like that's where you also dump bodies if you're.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make
That's where
out,
we dumped the bodies.
Get to second base, dump
yeah.
bodies.
All of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like in Coralville. I remember thinking it was really far then, and it must have been 15 minutes away. I mean, you know, at that point, 15 minutes, because it wasn't within walking distance of wherever I lived in Iowa City. That like made it. Well, we're only going to go here, you know, a couple times before it gets really cold. So
Yeah.
yeah, but it's kind of nice. But I've never. I know people that like go out on boats on the Mississippi. I'm always like, you know what goes into that thing, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so, if you don't think about it, it helps.
I suppose. Yeah. It's not my favorite water to swim in. But
What is?
my favorite water to
Yeah.
swim in? I like salt water.
Love salt water.
I like salt water. I also like the Great Lakes. Great Lakes, Lake Michigan is really beautiful. But salt water, like, so last summer we went to the southern tip of Italy, the heel of the boot called Puglia.
Okay.
Puglia. You have to get that growl in there. Puglia. And it is, on the one hand, it is a kind of lifeless part of the sea. There's no...
But it's really salty, right?
Maybe it's really salt. It is salty, but it's also just, you can see clear down for 40 feet straight to the bottom.
Oh, that's great.
From anywhere. And if you have a mask, you can see everything, but there's nothing. There's some rocks and stuff, but no vegetation and no fish. So
The Mediterranean's kind of like that in general.
yeah, it's really beautiful. It's fun to swim in. But yeah, that's cool. I love the Pacific Ocean, man. Southern California Pacific Ocean. That's where I grew up.
It's tough to beat.
I know there are other gorgeous places around the world, but that's the one I know well. And I've never seen it. I've seen it matched. Never seen it surpassed in my travels so far. So, you know.
Yeah, I kind of, the one that's sticking out to me right now is one that I think a lot of Spaniards are like, it's too cold. And that is northern Spain.
Yeah.
San Sebastian area is cold
Is
water.
it the Atlantic Ocean?
It is.
Okay.
And it is fantastic. Like it can be kind of warm. San Sebastian can get up during the day, but then it like you get in the water, it's freezing because it's the Atlantic.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those like super refreshing, but it'll take you a minute to go in.
Yeah.
And they're surfing, so like my kids have surfed up there, and it's not as expensive as everywhere else to go and surf. I mean, the expensive part is getting there, obviously, but it's one of those like, hey, you know what? It's not too bad. So we'll make a return trip. At
Sounds
some point.
gorgeous.
It's amazing.
I want to go.
I love it.
And there's so many parts of Italy that I've never been to. Some of the most famous beaches, the Amalfi Coast, and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, a lot of cool places to go.
This
I feel
isn't
like
a travel podcast today, though.
Yeah, our I would just give a thumbs up to the Moon Underwater UK.
For sure.
Cool folks, and
Good couple episodes. Buttoned up.
Yeah, I have subscribed to it, and I'll keep an eye on it. And otherwise, I feel like we can coexist peacefully right now until we grow into a behemoth, and then we may have to eat them. But
true,
they will be happily consumed by the Empire. And, they're used to it. Both
true.
being the Empire and being
consumed by the
underdog. It's better. It's for the best.
Probably.
And any final words, Steve Jones?
God, none whatsoever.
All
I haven't already
right.
said.
I guess we will just hit the extra music and take care, everybody. And I don't know. We've never asked anybody to
and subscribe.
Subscribe, write a review, and things like that. So tell a friend.